lacewings around. Certainly there was not very many good lacewings in the UK. Now there's loads of them. You go to many breeders now with quality lacewings, which is brilliant. The same thing's happening with dilutes now. There's some brilliant dilutes knocking about. I think sometimes it takes 1 or 2 breeders to get hold of them, and then they go everywhere. The same thing will happen shortly with recessive hides, I think, somewhere down south. And the reason we went to Malkington was this. So most of the Malkington birds have massive depths of mast and massive spots. And that's one feature that our birds just didn't have. They're okay masked and they're okay spotted, but once we saw an aviary with 1,000 birds in it, all with depth of mast and spot, and it's fixed in that line, then we thought, well, we need that line to come and add to our line, but we need, because of the distance, you can't just go and buy one and hope that you bring it back and breed off it. You've got to buy a few just in case you get some that will die, some that won't breed, and that kind of thing. So we brought back a few. With the idea really of pairing from Malkington to us, and seeing what we could then do. These are all brothers, so they all had this spot that we went for. So 5 normal greys. Then we put the cock with a different hen. I'm bred 5 more cocks, but so 2 dark greens, so 3 dark greens, and a sky blue. So then we have, in effect, we had 10 cocks off this bird, which we then put in 10 breeding cages, 10 completely different hens, and so that's where we kind of mixed everything up. And I've tried to put this kind of spot and mask through the rest of the birds. Funny enough, here's another hen at the Malkington line, blue seer coming on it. She didn't breed at all for us. Nice hen, did well at shows, useless in the breeding cage. So it's quite easy it's quite easy to put this in a sales cage and someone would buy it, but it's never going to do any good. So to be honest, we'd rather just give it to someone and see if it would do anything for them. If it doesn't, they've lost anything. This is a cinnamon cobalt. So this is out of the cobalt I said before, which was our lucky bird that year, which bred this bird for us. And I think at this time this was probably the best bird we've bred to date. Lovely cock, nice enough, big body, whacking great head on it. It's not blowing at all here. And sex mad. That's the most important thing about this bird, it's sex mad. And that whole line seems to be, especially with the cocks. Because in the past we've had our best birds and they've been not as interested or not as prolific, but these ones and the cinnamons and some of the other birds are just, and the sky blues are just bonkers. So whether that's a line thing or whether it's just that we've changed the way we're pairing up and we're becoming better at choosing when to pair them up, pairing them to the right hens are in better condition, or feeding's changed a bit, or whether it's just in the line, I don't know. But like a bird like that is a complete waste of breeding that if it's not going to breed for you. These are 2 nice hens. So this, it's a nice hen, it's not a show hen, I think it's a bit on the ugly side. From it, obviously it's flexed, but it's a bit of a kind of ugly hen, but a powerful hen that we need to mix with our finer feathered birds, especially our cinnamons. They've got much finer feather. Sky blue cock, so this will be quarter Malkington by now. Cinnamon light green, so this is off the cinnamon cobalt I said a minute ago with sex mad. He won the best in show for us, and then we cut his ring off because he had a started to get a swollen foot. Once we took the ring off, he was fine. The biggest annoyance with this cock is he had the spots that overlap. So he never, in effect, he had the right spot, that's a shadow spot at the bottom there, but he always had the spots that sat on top of other spots, which I just think it looks a bit ugly. So it's a super nice bird, but it's just let down with that, almost a match that sits on top of each other. And then this is two kind of rough hens for kind of refined version, and then a rougher version. Again, we're bordering on. We're trying to pull away from this now. This is for us. This is a kind of a bit ugly. I think you need it. You need this feather. It's just now controlling where this feather goes, because it's easy to put. If you put feather here, it's quite easy and it follows here. But the difficulty bit is adding the feather around here, or keeping this kind of tight, or tighter than that. And also, these hens are an absolute pain to breed from. You're never going to breed 10 chicks off a bird like that, unless you're really, really lucky. So I guess it's having a few of these, but not, you wouldn't want 60 breeding cages full of birds like that, to keep going year after year. Because the thing is, for us, we're quite big showers, except this year. Normally we show 12, 14 shows a year, so we want to breed birds that can go to say half of those shows before they start dropping spots or feathers. These kind of birds, you're lucky if you get them to one show, because they're just a bit too rough. This bird is a cinnamon spangle. On the show bench, it'd either win a CC or it'd come last in its class for being a cinnamon. I never really grasped why it got marked down for being a cinnamon spangle. Because I know judges will say the wing markings and everything is lighter, but it should be. It's a cinnamon, isn't it? It has to be lighter. And I think for a cinnamon spangle, it's actually quite good for its variety. There was a super one here a few years ago bred by Freakley and Amy Partnership. Absolute stonking spangled cock. Which when I saw that, I thought actually it's solid. Let's just pair cinnamons to spangles, because you can get some really good ones. Yellow-faced hen. This bred us, did very well for us in the show bench and in the breeding cage. I always felt it was a bit old-fashioned and a bit narrow. When you look at it straight across here, I always felt it was a bit pinched. But in the show cage, it would stand like a soldier and just blow its head off. So it's really, if you get it in good condition, it's hard for just to fault it when it's bang on. Hide line. This will have a bit of Reinhardt in it, but now it'll be mainly our bloodline. This particular pied line breeds fully spotted hens, and always the cocks always have spots missing. Don't know why. So we've gradually trying to change that now. It's a really nice bird. It probably would have done a decent amount of winning the CCs and whatever if it had proper full set of spots. Lacewings. This will be first or second generation. Open cinnamon blue, split lacewing. So this is off the lacewing hen that we bought off Reinhardt, compared to one of our cocks. And when we bred this, it completely changed our vision of lacewings, because we were expecting, Reinhardt said don't pair lacewing to lacewing all the time. He said as soon as you get two good lacewings, pair them together, within 3 years you'll have no good lacewings. And that's what a lot of people do. They do it with lutinos, they do it with albinos. But he said whack normals into them, whack cinnamons into them, whack opening cinnamons into them, but just whack quality of some other varieties into them. So when we bred this out, knowing it's split lacewing, we thought actually we can have budgies that look like normal budgies and are good quality, but can be split, and will push the lacewing variety on much further. And I think the same for people that breed recessives, lutinos, albinos. I think that's an important thing, is not to keep pairing the same to the same to the same, because you can't. It's impossible to improve them. So now we paired up yesterday, so there's no visual lacewings to lacewing pairings at all with them. They're all lacewing cocks to lacewing cocks to opening cinnamons, or cinnamons, split cocks to lacewing hens, lacewing hens to normal cocks, so a complete mixture. Because we're not after breeding X number of lacewings, it's just about trying to breed a lacewing this year that's better than one we bred last year. And if we breed one lacewing that's better than we bred last year, we've achieved what we wanted to achieve. And the same with all our birds. We don't pair up to breed numbers, we just pair up to try and breed one bird that's better than anything we've bred before. And quite a few of the years we've done that. We did it again this year with the grey cock we've bred, and one of our lacewings maybe. But we're trying to just constantly focus. I guess although we've got 60 pair, we won't pair up 60 pair this year. But we focus on the 20 best cocks. That's where all the focus is, on getting birds out of them, getting into the right hens. And then the brothers and sisters are the number 40s and the number 50s. And that's, I guess, where the numbers come out of, but the quality will come out of those best 10, 20 cocks. Very rarely does number 55 bird produce a better one than your top 10s. It does happen occasionally, but usually it doesn't, hence why everyone keeps the best birds. And we do as well. We don't strip back to numbers. So at the moment we've probably got twice as many birds in the aviary as we should have. We should, I guess, go down to about 80 cocks. We always keep double, 3 times the amount of hens and breeding cages. With the view that if you have a bad year, you can't go out and buy 20 or 30 young hens of a decent quality. So even though like last year we had 25, 30 hens in the fly, young hens that we never even bred off in the breeding season, but it's just that backup. And the same, we had a few cocks that we've never bred off, but we'd rather have them flying around in the aviary than strip back to numbers, have a bad year, lose a few birds. You're just struggling. You're better off with your own birds, because buying birds is a risky business at any time of year. I should say also we only ever bring in birds when we're not breeding. In the past, whenever we brought in birds when we've been breeding, you just get hit quite quickly with French mole. So now we try and bring in birds at least 4 or 5 weeks before we pair up, and we mix those birds in the flights with the rest of the birds to try and get the birds' immunity. So I think all birds have French mole virus. It's just not coming out in them. So I think working on their immune system is the key, and having them 5 or 6 weeks gives them time. But it's our birds that need the immunity from the new birds, kind of thing, not the other way around. So that's something we've done for the past 5 years. And we haven't had French mole for quite a long time. And I think that's the main reason. So yeah, once we pair up, we kind of shut up shop. That's us for the year until kind of May, June. Then once the end of the breeding season, it wouldn't really matter if you ended up with French mole right at the end of the year. Some cobalts. Again, multi-ton masks, but with our kind of head. Spangles, for many years we wanted to breed some decent spangles, but every time we bought a spangle we always bred normals. Now we're beginning to get a decent number of decent spangles together. We were looking yesterday, we've got quite a few normal cinnamon spangles, which are late breds, which are really, really nice. Big changes to the birds. So we're going to go back in time, 2004. This is when massive changes happened in our stud, I guess. Before going to South Africa, we were kind of old school, basic, minimalistic budgie breeders who have 3 different feed pots in the cages, white millet, plain canary, and a thing of tonic. We'd go in every night, blow it off all the plus, top them all up, all this stuff. I think we used to give them EMP as a rearing food and groats mixed together, Abidex, Cytocon in the water, grit, goldfish, that was it. And the birds did okay. They were healthy. We still don't lose many birds. But then we went to South Africa, I met this guy, Reinhardt, and you go in this aviary which is maybe twice as long as this room, full with 100 breeding cages in it, massive great big flights, 1,000 budgies, noisy as anything, and massive flights, big flights, all the birds are active as, they're flying around doing stuff, all, quality birds, not all just sitting on the floor, moping around. And I just thought, there's something not right in our bird room, and they're doing something right. Obviously they've got, sun all year round, they've got better day lengths, better this, better that, massive great bird room, someone looking after the birds for them. But the health of the birds was different. All the birds were so active and so healthy. No wing problems, tail problems, cysts, that kind of thing. Because Reinhardt would let you catch any birds you want to have hold of and put in cages. He'd let you just have free run of the aviary when you're there. So nothing was like normal about it. I just thought this is weird. Everything is super healthy. So then we stayed with Reinhardt, got up the next morning, and that's when it hit me to what they're feeding the birds. So everything, they get up at 6 in the morning, they give them all these boiled eggs, fresh vegetables, huge amounts of vegetables, all kind of natural foods. But you can't really, unless you've got a lot of time on your hands, you can't really emulate that back here. And all the stuff they grow themselves, it's all organic and all this kind of stuff. But we did come back and think we need to change what we're doing, but we were in the middle of a breeding season, so we decided to carry on doing what we're doing, finish off breeding, and then start changing the diet completely before that end of that season to the start of the new one. And that's kind of what we did. We spent the next couple of years messing around with different diets. Now we feed a diet, or the soft food is very, very similar to the Miller Partnership. Very, very similar. Not identical, but virtually the same. Again, Michael's birds, super healthy, really active, no problems, wings, tails, all this kind of cysts. Super birds that obviously doing something very, very right. But it's just to show, I think, that you can go to somewhere and see. It's not just, we went there solely. In effect, I went there to pick out some budgies to bring back. But because I was there so long, it gives you time to look in all the breeding cages, how people pair up, what they're feeding. Because it's easy. At the moment, you go on Facebook and someone's bred, I don't have birds with feather cysts, I don't have birds with this, and then you get to their aviary and they're riddled with them. And it's and the same with feeding. I think really you've got to go to places, visit the bird rooms, and actually see what people are pairing up together, what they're feeding the birds, and not just kind of take a social media kind of view on, everyone's birds are wonderful kind of thing. So we do that. I think one of the best bits of the hobby is going to other breeders and seeing what they're doing. So this is the soft food at the moment, what they're getting. So that's the amount of vegetables they get up the top. That all goes through blender and then gets mixed. We did also for a few years, we did mess around with some sprouted seeds, but we never got it right. It was always an absolute pain. You spent a lot of time doing it. It went mouldy quick. We obviously weren't doing something right. So now we thought, well, instead of doing that, we still like the idea of it. So now we just buy cress and those bean sprouts. So they get those every day mixed in this whole soft food. Because that in effect is sprouted seed. You buy it 25p of pressed punnet or whatever, it's cheap as anything. Birds go mad for it. And for us, the veg is now, it's part of the diet, but also it's a way of getting all the extra additives into the birds without them knowing they're eating them really, because they won't eat all these lotions and potions if you try feeding them separately or in finger drawers. You need the veg, because it's the veg they go mad for and want to eat, and everything else just sticks to the veg. And eucalyptus branches, they get them every week, if not more. it's healthy for them, but also it gives them something to do, because in the flights or the half flights, they're just, you know, basically they're just bored. They need something to do. It's more natural for them. There's obviously loads of beneficial oils and stuff in eucalyptus. Same with willow. The only thing we do is cut it, spray it outside with F10, hose it off, and we normally put it in the area wet.